Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Speed Report here on 105 The Drive and Twitchmaster 27. I am your host, Sam Cook, and here live on NH4, we want to remind everyone that you can check out everything KMR related on the official website, www.thegamingriff.com. Truck Series, X Series, Cup Series, it's all there on the website. If you are interested in joining KMR, please message me, Sam Cook, 2728785, with your request and your car number, and we will get you in the series as soon as possible. Hope that everyone is enjoying their weekend so far. Just remember, as everyone goes out, COVID-19 is beginning its resurgence. Please be extra careful in all your activities. Make sure you keep yourself safe. Make sure you keep your hands clean, wear your mask, keep social distance, and don't take any unnecessary risks so that you can be safe and your family and friends can be safe as well. All right, well, this speed report is after week one. I know it's a bit delayed. Generally, I try to do the speed report on Thursday nights is generally the normal time for the speed report. Wasn't able to get it done Thursday night, so we are doing it now. And normally I have a whole panel of people with me. I'm pretty sure everyone's getting on with their day's activity, as well as looking forward to the Indianapolis Roval race that will happen in the NASCAR Xfinity Series later on today. So while everyone gears up for that, I figure I'd just hop in and do a quick broadcast up here and just kind of express my thoughts about the 500 after it is over. And indeed, what a great 500 it really was. It was an awesome 500 there at Daytona. If I were to rank this 500 from, let's say, where would it rank in my top 5 or top 10 Daytona 500s in KMR of all time? I'd say it'd probably be 5th or 4th. I think the late race cautions there at the end of stage 3 really made for an exciting 500 compared to last season, where it went pretty much green the entire way, or the season before that, where there was one on basically a fuel mileage race there in the final stage. So in that situation, I would say it was good. Obviously, we know that NH4 is not the best game when it comes to simulating really good pack racing. You have to be so careful as far as distance between you and the car beside you, because weird things happen when you don't. But I still think it made for a great 500. So let's talk about some highlights first. Stage one went kind of smooth. You can check out stage one on the Twitch. Tons of fun broadcasting network. He's our official broadcaster of the KMR Cup Series, and he will be regularly broadcasting the Cup Series starting at Talladega. So if you haven't already, tune in over there to him, and he will get you set up, and you'll be able to view these weekly. Also, we have Welp Dang 43 LOL, who also helps broadcast occasionally. You'll also be able to check out, starting at Talladega, live in-car coverage from my car, the 27 CMR Chevrolet. So I hope that you enjoy that, and I hope that I don't start lagging, because if I start lagging, then you will not be able to tune in to any in-car coverage, because it won't be there. I'm not going to broadcast. But I know last time I tried, I ended up losing connection. So I'm going to try again at Talladega, see how we do. In any case, back to stage one. The winner of stage one was the 14 of Dopey Lion. And I really do think that this was a great showing for HMS. This was a great showing for SHR. And they really did what they were supposed to do out there, especially in stage one. It was 14-4-10. If that gives you any indication of how they were able to work together out there, all things considered. By the way, I'm sorry, the chat is open for those that want to tune in. I'm just chatting away here. I won't be on all that long, but if you got any questions or comments you want to add to the chat, be more than welcome to. I'm staring right at it right now. But anyway, back to stage one. It was good for SHR. That's the way you want to start. And Dopey certainly was able to do that. And for Dopey, this would be very, very important because of the events that happened in stage three. But the 4 of paint, also good, solid second place finish in stage one. And then Dunkerwiz returning. Remember, Dunkerwiz is not locked into the series. So it's very important for him to get as many points as he can to stay away from that bubble that's down there at the bottom that forms at the end of the race. Because, of course, we had some drivers that were hot seats that ran this race. So it was so important he stayed away from that, and he did that. Got a good, solid finish. HMS also looked equally as solid with an 88 and a 24 of Annihilator and Spirit Rope, respectively, finishing 4th and 5th. And they would prove to be a very formidable and surprising opponent for Daytona. So congrats to those guys. Disappointing finishes in stage one. Yeah, how about that 27? Missed blown strategy. Supposed to have been no tires. It was 4 tires for the 27. Broke the draft apart for that team who was drafting together CMR. So CMR got a 10th, 11th, and a 9th, 10th, and 11th, respectively, with the 27 going a lap down. Blown. Very bad, very bad strategy there. They would be able to recover somewhat, but it would really set a very negative tone for them throughout this Daytona 500. And the 11 of Josh, the best. He was one of those drivers that was a hot seat driver coming into this. So what this meant was he needed as many points as he could, because he was going to be sitting. If he didn't win the Daytona 500, he was going to be sitting for Talladega in the waiting period, as the drivers that got through the qualifier and actually qualified for the series are going to get their opportunity to run there at Talladega next week. And so he needed to get as many points as he could. Stage one, he got 0 points, and that would actually not be good for him at all. But our stage one winner, important that he set the tone, and he did that. And so you have to give kudos to him. Then you move on to stage number 2, and Paint was able to snag that win in stage number 2 again. Now, it just felt like SHR was setting the tone for their season and what they wanted to accomplish, and this was good for them to do that. If you're any team, the Daytona 500, that's why it's the most important race, because you set the tone pretty much for your whole season by going out there and doing that. And that's what they were able to do. Dopey was able to finish second. The 14 was able to finish third. So again, that big 3 for SHR proven to be very effective in stage number 2. And of course, they're getting the most stage points out of any team because they're finishing in those top 3 positions. So really setting the tone for their season. And this is very, very important for their success over the long term. But one of the drivers that is a part of that SHR team that did not do so hot going through is the 41. Now, the 41, of course, if you've been paying attention to the news page, which I know has not been updated yet, and it will be updated, so just calm down. It will be updated tonight. But one of the things, if you've been following the news page, is that Dawson is one of those drivers that did not make it through the qualifier. He was a hot seat. So he's in the same position as the 11. He's got to get as many points as he can, because now he has this waiting period where he has to wait, hope that somebody doesn't show up at Talladega. Of course, he would be the first one, at least as of right now, the first one called. And then he would get his opportunity to run. But until then, he would have to wait. So it's really important for him to get those good finishes. Stage 1, he got 1 point. He finished 8th. Stage 2, he got 1 point. He finished 9th. So not so hot. He wasn't able to stay with that lead pack or that lead group of drivers from his team that were all finishing up there 1, 2, 3. And this would actually not prove to hurt him just a little bit, but he would be safe because of this big fact. Talking about the 11, we go back to the 11 because the 11 had electronic issues early in stage 2. He would lag out, which means he would get a last place finish. There were 15 drivers to start the 500, and 2 of them DNF completely out by the end of the 500, which means last place was 13th. He was the first one to lag out, so he only got 15 points for the Daytona 500. And if you're in a position where you are a hot seat, you got to get as many points as you can. That was the position the 41 was in. He was able to get a few more points, but still, he's going to need a lot of help as after Talladega, if he doesn't get the call to be able to run. So, but stage 2 was more of the same. We had a few more cautions, but it was more of the same single file strategy. The field was able to stay together some. Wasn't as dismal a finish for the 27. He was able to get 6, but again, that 48 of Speed B was able to climb up 7th in stage 1. Speed B finished 5th in stage 2 and was starting to climb up through the field. This is important. Speed B was coming off of a season-long suspension last season for aggressive driving. Now he is back. He gets on to HMS, which is pretty much like joining CMR, the team that he was on before his suspension. Now he's back, and you can kind of get the sense that he's trying to reassert himself. In the qualifier, he won. He won in big and dramatic fashion there at Atlanta. Now he's back here, stage 2, and trying to get that, trying to reassert himself. And he was moving up through the field, setting himself up for the final stage. And what about that final stage? Who was able to corral the win for the Daytona 500? We'll mention that in a second. Of course, if you want to cheat, you can always go to the website, thegamingriff.com, and look, and you'll see the point standings and who got it, and then you'll be like, oh, well, he did. Okay. But let's go back to the 27. It just seemed like the 27 was making all kind of news. He scrubbed out of stage 1, had a decent stage 2. CMR trying to get back up through the field. The 72 of West, also a CMR car. Ghost Train, the CMR car. And in stage 2, they finished 6th, 7th, 8th. And so you're getting this feeling, okay, they're finishing well. They're getting close, getting back in rhythm. They're going to get back up through the field. And then what happens? Let's take you to late in the race. Big wreck on one of the restarts. Well, before that big wreck, there was a wreck involving the 27, the 10, and the 24 as a mishap getting onto pit road caused a big wreck with 3 cars. Caution comes out. 27 calls a caution, which makes him the last place car on the grid. There are 0 cars a lap down. So coming into that last restart, what happens? The big one, and the 27 is flying through the air. That's a DNF. 27 with DNF out of this. Now, of course, he's locked in to the series. But this is one of the rare times you see someone who was a Final Four finalist the season before start the season with fewer than double-digit points. He is the lowest person on the grid right now that is a full-time driver. And that's amazing. So then what's the impact? Got a long way to go as far as the season is concerned, because again, you set the tone for your season early. It's going to be important for him to be able to get himself back in rhythm at Talladega and then set the tone for the rest of his season. 2 DNFs in this league back to back can pretty much tank a whole season. So he has to be extra careful that he doesn't tear up that race car. We'll get to other DNFs in a minute. We talked about lag outs for the 11. Someone else who lagged out in stage 2, the 95 of Dale Jr. Dale Jr. Trucking it solo and has agreed to be affiliated with JG. That's the 96. My bad. The 95. There you go. There he is. Wow, I went through the whole thing just to get okay. The 95 of Dale Jr. trying to stick it out solo. Again, he agreed to an extended deal, but can get full ownership of this team and this single car team um, by the end of the season. So, what does that mean for Dale? This is important for Dale. First off, that he needs to run races to make sure he secures that team ownership. Make sure that he secures that for that team, which obviously I think he's going to be able to do. Dale Jr. is not locked into the series. He had to come through the qualifier. So you're looking at Dale getting 20 points. That's near the bottom. So what does that mean? Well, that means that the drivers that are qualified to run, they will be running. You think about the 20 of Fractured Chain, the 22 of Mixer Ice, the 5, which will be the 15 car now of Chris, or as we know him, Hair Bear. These guys have yet to run. And these are the guys that are expected to come in and run that have made it through the qualifier. So is Dale Jr. going to be able to beat the 20 out at Talladega? Anything can happen at Dega, but I mean, come on. You have to look at it. Well, the pressure is on. What about Hair Bear? Hair Bear has consistently shown improvement at the restrictor plate races, especially at the end of races. Can Dale beat Hair Bear out? And then the underestimated driver in this group is the 22 of Mixer, because Mixer Ice is actually a very good restrictor plate racer. He has a restrictor plate win in the Cup series at Daytona. He also has been successful at Talladega and restrictor plates. He knows how to hold his line in the pack of cars when they're running out there, and we saw that at the Daytona Dash. Even though he did not finish in a position to qualify for the 500. We saw him working very well in the draft, even though he was a lap down. So it's very important for Dale to keep this in mind. And oh, by the way, he's a single car team, so he's not going to have a lot of help. Of course, he has help from JGR, but it's talking about making decisions as far as team points and things like that. That all falls on him. So it's going to be very, very important that he ensures that he gets he gets a good finish. He's going to be running at Talladega. He's got to make sure he's get a good finish to make sure he does not fall into that hot seat position and then have to battle and claw his way back up into the season. So that was Dale that had the misfortune of having an electronic issue that kept him out of the final stage, got him a last place finish at the time. What about the 21, who was the last one to lag out? And poor thing, because he was having a great race. He finished, though he didn't have a good stage 1, he finished behind the 27. In stage 2, though, he had battled his way back and finished 4th in stage 2. I mean, that 21 was a rocket ship. And one of the big questions I had coming into Daytona was, what was going to be JP's mindset? Was he going to go out as a single car team, or was he going to go out there as a Ford? And he made it quite clear at Daytona he was going out there as a Ford. As a result, he had all the help he needed from SHR and was able to get that finish drafting with those SHR cars. So he did really, really good at Daytona and was really excited about the final stage. Didn't work out that way. He got a last place finish. So what does that mean? He finishes 11th. He gets 25 points. Not the best start for JPS. Not locked in. Again, he's in the same situation as Dale is. He's a single car team, but he has proven in that 21 car that he can make the right decision and he can go out there and do the right thing to be able to get himself up off of that bubble spot. So I feel a lot better about the 21 than I would about the 95 at this point, because of the situations that they're in. And I think that JPS will do fine at Talladega and will get himself off the bubble quite nicely. One quiet driver that we don't really talk about that much, was trying to come back, make a resurgence in KMR, is Terrier. And Terrier had a decent 500. Not the best, didn't stand out that much, but he had a decent 500. Stage 1, he finished 6th, which gives them 2 stage points in there. Stage 2, didn't do all that great. He finished 12th for the 12 car. That's okay. There was a wreck. It happens. It's Daytona. Didn't finish all that well, but then comes back and gets a really solid 8th place finish at the 500. Really good. He can build on that. He's not really on the bubble. He's got 42 points. Not really on the bubble. Looking really good in that 12. I think he goes underestimated by most because of his earlier performances in KMR back in the day when KMR was on N15 and N14. And people, what we remember about Terrier was stay out of the way, don't wreck us. He's lagging with things like that. But Terrier is showing that you're trying to get off to that good start in the 500. He was able to finish 8th in that final stage, and I think he'll be okay. Good, pretty decent start to his season. He was, though, involved in that wreck there coming to the closing laps. So let's talk about that. Coming to the closing laps, there was a big wreck that took out the middle part of the field. A lot of cars got involved in that. One car that I don't think got involved in that was the 18 of Beloved. And look, over the course of several off seasons, we have talked nothing but junk about the 18 of Beloved. And his goal, what he said, his goal was to put the league on notice that he is coming. He is tired of hearing negative things said about him in that 18, and he is ready to turn things around. Well, by all means, Mr. 18, turn things around. Like that start there at Daytona. And I mean, even though he calls the 27 of myself the DNF, we're going to get over that because really it wasn't his fault. I'm just teasing. But he was involved in that late race wreck, cycled him to the back. What happened? Next thing you know, he's running 3rd. It's like, where did the 18 come from? Getting a top 10 finish at the Daytona 500 was a must for that 18 camp. And that's exactly what he needed to do. It's exactly what he did. And if he can build on that at Talladega, he has to continue with that type of aggression. He can't say, well, I did good, I got started good, and then run 40th at Talladega and then basically nullify how good of a finish he got at Daytona. He has to build. He has to build on that. He needs to be consistent with those top 5 and top 10s if he's going to stay relevant in KMR. Right now, if the chase started, he'd be in. He's got to keep that mentality. Okay, I got to stay in the chase. I've got to stay up here in this top group. And if he can do that, I think he can be a decent threat for the round of 6. Not a championship, but he'll be a decent threat for the round of 6 for sure. Moving up through the field, how about HMS? They needed, as a team, a new team put together this season with all returning drivers. No one ran the season before or really the season before that one. All of these guys are returning drivers. The 48, the 24 Spirit Rope has not run a full KMR season since N14. A long time of absence for KMR. 8 modern era seasons. Now he's trying to make a return. He finishes 5th. I mean, it's just awesome that the 24 is able to do that. He finishes 5th. He did a great job throughout his 500. He got stage points. He just put together a very solid run. And what about Annihilator? The last time Annihilator ran an entire season of KMR, it was on N15, where he was beat out at the last moment, the last race, runner up to the championship to the White Hammer, who we know is a KMR Hall of Famer. and now he's making a return. Where did he finish? Third. I mean, you can't make this up. He did an awesome job. It's what you want to see out of a newly formed team. And when's the last time HMS has looked this formidable? It's been a long time. And they are back, at least for right now. They are back. They're looking very, very nice. And they have to keep it up. They've got to keep pushing and keep building on that. They've got one more restrictor plate where they have the opportunity to really, really work together, physically working together in the draft for a team goal. And I think that this is very, very important for them to do that. And then, of course, again, our returning driver, he's won a 500 before, and now he's out here again. And what does he do? He wins another Daytona 500. Congratulations officially to Speed B. I'm not going to pronounce his current gamer tag because I can't. But congratulations, man. He gets in that 48 and just picks up where he left off. He goes out there. He finishes fifth in stage 2. He finishes 7th in stage 1, so he's getting stage point and goes out there. And he didn't just win the 500. He dominated the final stage of the 500 and was able to beat out 2 SHR cars for the win by himself. That is impressive. And he's going to have to continue to put forth work like that because it's not going to be an easy run to the championship like it may have been earlier on in seasons of KMR that Speed B has run. So he's going to have to be prepared. We want to thank our 4 viewers out there for tuning in and being a part of this this broadcast here and everything. And the chat is open, so feel free to leave a comment in the chat, question, thought, whatever that you want to put in the chat, and we'll chat about that as as we go along. Not going to get too much into Talladega. Obviously, there aren't any races that are going to be ran this weekend, this holiday weekend. So we're not going to get too much into Talladega. Next week, Thursday, at the normal time, we will have a KMR speed report to set us up for Talladega, strictly Talladega. But right now, we're talking about the Daytona 500. And we're talking about how drivers were able to set themselves up for this next season, and then some news that's been circulating through that has not been on the website. So that's what we're talking about now. Dunkerwiz was able to finish second, and that's because there was a huge wreck. So maybe whichever number I get to first is the one I'll talk about as far as what happened out there. Okay, I get to the 10 first. All right, so Dunkerwiz was able to get that good and solid win. He was able to get that good solid finish. Second time he finished second. He averaged a top 3 in each of the stages in the 500. Really, really good start. That's how you want to start your season, obviously, is by having those consistent finishes, and he did just that. He's proven to be, even though there was early success in stage 1 and stage 2, he's really proving to be the more of the consistent finisher out of the bunch. But if you talk to him, maybe he would say it wasn't his favorite 500 out there. There was certainly some things that got under his skin. And so we will keep our eye out on all of that, how all of that affects the future for him. Not in terms of him leaving the league, of course, but maybe in terms of what his decisions are and how he chooses to face the rest of the season. He's another driver that is not locked in, that is returning. A lot of returning champions and returning veterans coming into KMR this season. He's one of them. You got a chance to hear him broadcast the Cup Series. He knows the league up and down, and congratulations to him to being recently made an official an assistant official, so he will take the place of Back in Black or Slothy, and as an official, and he'll have the opportunity to help out to make sure that the league runs as smoothly as possible. And as far as his Cup Series is concerned, he's starting as smoothly as he possibly can, getting that second place finish. But it really wasn't even close as far as finishes were concerned, which leads us to the other big story. Do I think it's a concern? Talladega will really, really tell whether this is a concern or not, just like it will for the 27. The 14 battling for the lead and loses control of the car, exiting 4, which threw him into the wall, and he DNF'd. And so that's why he's the second on the group. Now, between him and the 27, he's in a much better position because he won stage number 1. So he's locked in. But remember, just because he's locked in, he could lose that lock-in position into the chase. Obviously, attendance is the biggest way that you can do it. But you have to remember the rules here. You have to be in the top 16. And you might think, well, that shouldn't be hard for him to do, right? And yeah, it shouldn't be hard. But think about if he goes out there at Talladega and DNFs. On top of that, you've got 3 drivers. There's 15 that scored points. And there are 3 drivers that still have to run, that are locked into the series through the qualifier, that have to run the grid. So think about it. He DNFs, Fractured Chain, Chris, and Mixer all have really good, miraculously good finishes out there. And all of a sudden, he's down there in the hot seat area, below, outside of the top 16. And if it just makes it that much harder for him to build on what he has. And it's going to be a really tough season if attendance can stay up for these guys. If, the 11 is on a team, I'm pretty sure they're going to use team points to help the 11. The 15 of Chris is on a team, and they're going to use team points to help him out. The 22 is on a team. I don't even know if Terry is going to use team points. I'm got to be honest. Maybe not. But anyway. So then the team points come into effect. So now SHR's got to burn those team points if other teams are using it. And if he falls outside of that boundary, he may say, hey, I need some team points to keep relevant. And then that just affects the whole scope of everything that's going on. So right now, I think Talladega is the key for those drivers that had issues in the 500. But then again, when you look at the schedule, Homestead, Miami, I don't see the 14 having any issues at Homestead. And then the Roval. And I don't see really him having any issues at the Roval either. I think he'll do pretty decent at the Roval. So, it's gonna be interesting. Talladega's the key for the 14. He DNF'd out of that race. So going on watch again, just kind of going on watch on. Let's talk about these drivers that did not get a chance to run the Daytona 500. Now we start with let's see who I get to first. Well, you know what? The custom team. We're gonna use the 00. No, he on my team, so I'm gonna use the 27. There we go. So driver that did not run the 500, did not qualify, was what is going to be now the 15 of Chris. And the big thing about this is now he's got to go in here. He's guaranteed a spot in Talladega. He's got to go out here and he's going to have to rule the show. I think he's going to have to perform really, really well. He cannot afford to have an electronic issue lag him out. He can't afford that. He cannot afford to DNF out of Talladega. He has to come in and run well, because if he does not run well at Talladega, let's say he lags out And let's say there are 16 cars on the grid. He lags out first, second, third one to lag out. Gets the last place finish, he gets 10 points. If he didn't lead a lap, he gets 10 points. Let's see. You talk about Josh. Josh has 15 points. Automatically, the 15 is a hot seat after Talladega. So it puts a lot of strain on now the team of CMR to say, hey, okay, now we got to get the 5 or rather the 15 into the series. So it's be really, really important for him and all of these drivers that did not get a chance to run. They've got to go out here and rule the day because to ensure that they get into the series. But I don't see him struggling really bad at Talladega. Again, he's improved quite a bit at restrictor plate racing. We saw both last season, the season before that. He was able to get some decent starts at the 500. Even got a stage win at the 500 2 seasons ago at the Wilma Fry Memorial 500. By the way, if you want to catch that footage of that race from the in-car or from the broadcast angle, you can go to 105 The Drive or KMR TV 105 The Drive and on YouTube and check out those two races. It should be under season 7 of or season 6. Season 6 or 7. You just have to look for the name, or you can just type in the name. I tell you, the seasons just all run together when you run so many of them. You know, it's just hard to keep track of them sometimes. But anyway, you can check those out. Really, really good 500 all the way around. But again, focus on the 5 and how he was able to get that stage win. CMR was able to get a 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's proven that he can run well, and he's gonna have to do that again at Talladega. And then, of course, everyone's surprised about this driver, the driver that didn't make it, the driver that's a 4-time series champion, the driver that everyone, or at least most people, look at as one of the more fierce drivers in KMR. Always there up front, always coming. Been around KMR since the beginning, Fractured Chain. And people are all scratching their head. Wait a minute, Fractured Chain did not qualify for the 500? Well, don't be too surprised. Fractured Chain either does not qualify or DNFs out of like 90% of the beginning races of the series. I just guess that he likes doing that, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, so he's got to go out there and make sure that he puts together and strings together good racing. He's got to be sure he strings together some good solid racing because he's got to ensure that as a team captain, now he's got to ensure that he is there taking the lead on his team. And Beloved set the bar really high. I think that's really good that Beloved was the savior. I personally, coming into the 500, I personally thought that the 11 was going to be the savior or balancing act for that team without Fracture, but Beloved was able to come in and have a solid run and take charge. Now Fracture's got to go out there and say, okay, now it's time for us to get our act together. We're all here together, hopefully, and so now it's time to go out there and get it done. And I think that is really, really important. And especially for Fractured, I think he's going to be running on pins and needles. And the reason why is because everyone that has ran KMR from, I don't know, the modern era of NHE all the way to now knows the notorious connection issues he has had. Connection issues always crop up on him at the wrong times. Times when it's time to win the championship, that's when he has connection issues. Time when we're just running around out there having fun, no connection issues whatsoever. So he's going to have to make sure now. I think he's going to have to tell his internet that this is just a race. It doesn't matter where he finishes in this race and that, everything is fine. I don't think his internet will have any issues. But if he tells his internet, listen, I need you to work right because I really need this race, he'll probably lag out. So this is important, though. He's not locked in. If he lags out, he could be a hot seat. And I mean, just talk about fall from grace just that quick. He's gonna have to then dig his way up into the series. He'll be in the same boat as his teammate, the 11. It's just a lot of things could happen here, so we'll keep our eye on that developing story. And then we move to the 22, and the 22 has been left really in disarray. The 22 was starting to be built or starting to be developed by back in black or Slothy, and Slothy had pulled in Terrier, was going to use Terrier, assign Terrier to a deal, um, and then use whatever driver came in next to try and combat what SHR and CMR were bringing to the table. As far as speed, maybe he would have been able to succeed personally himself in setting the tone there. Obviously, we know off the track issues, the league had to step in and handle that, which means now he won't be with the team. And so now the team is left hanging. And it's really, really important now that somebody out of this team, whether it's the 12 of Terrier or whether it's the 22 of Mixer, one of these two, they have to step up now to the plate and take leadership of this team and get this team steered in the right direction. What better way you can do that than by going out there, battling hard, and getting a solid finish or even a win, setting the tone for your team. Team points, I believe, for this team is going to be a struggle for the entire season. And now you've got to go out to Talladega again and rule the day. You can't afford to have electronic issues. You can't afford to DNF. You have to go out there and have a solid finish. And then, of course, they have some team points. So now Terrier, if he is going to be the team captain, Terrier has to think, okay, what am I going to do with these team points here? Am I going to use them to help the 22, to boost the 22 coming into Talladega? Or are we going to wait until afterward? A lot of decisions have to be made by whoever's going to be the team captain of this team. Got to be able to make some decisions here. So we'll see how that works out. They're your three drivers that have to get into the series. Also, mind you, that the 32 of Fleur was someone who at least tried to qualify for a Daytona. He's on the hot seat. He could be called for a ride. How does he do at restrictor plates? Not so great, but he can run and has ran in KMR and has done decently well. You have to remember that. Also, the one of Pennzoil, who was unable to run at Talladega, even though he qualified on the grid. So that's also something else that's a big deal. He's on the hot seat. He'll be waiting as well. And even though neither one of these drivers have teammates or team points at this time, think about if you get a couple drivers that are out, and all of a sudden out at Talladega, maybe something happens, and they're unable to run, because we've seen this before. And all of a sudden, the 32, as well as Wool Tortoise, who has not signed a deal or agreed to anything as far as any number, so we don't know what number he wants to run, but he does qualify for the Cup Series if he so chooses. So think you could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could have 6 drivers, hot seats, come in and earn points at Talladega. Now, the chances of that happening, are they high in the Cup Series? No, but you can't rule out anything, especially this early in the season, as everyone tries to get back in rhythm every week. We had the Talladega, we had the gap in there, and then now, of course, this next gap we had Daytona, we had the gap. Can't get more thoughts right. We had the Daytona qualifying, we had the gap for the 500, and then, of course, now we have this gap here for the holiday. So now we come back to Talladega. Oh, I didn't know we were running, and all of a sudden you got 5 hot seats or 3 hot seats and 3 guys that are supposed to be running in there earning points. It can spell trouble for everybody. It's really going to spice things up if everybody is there and ready to run. So put your boxing mitts on, your boxing gloves on. It's going to be a fight. Want to thank all our 4 viewers out there. We've consistently had 4 so far. Thank you for tuning in to the Speed Report. You're a couple days late and a few dollars short, but we are here to bring you a review of Daytona. Again, next week, next Thursday night, there will be a Speed Report strictly setting us up for Talladega. There'll be very little review, but again, we'll have all 3 series to talk about preparing for Talladega: the Truck Series, the X Series, and the Cup Series. And remember that if you are interested in joining, be sure that to message me, Sam Cook, 2728785. Tell you somebody else you can get in contact with. You can get in contact with Paintbrush54. He'll be more than happy to help you. You can get in touch with Speedy12 Driver. He ain't doing nothing but driving a truck. He'll be more than happy to help you get in touch with me to sign in to be able to run. Also, you can get in touch with Fractured Chain 5. Fractured Chain 5 is an official, and then our newest official, Dunker Wiz, or really anyone that runs in the Cup Series, and they'll be able to get you in touch with the league and get you set up with your card number. We got some messages in the chat here. Feel free to chat with me while we're here. We got a few minutes. So Welp Dang, who drives the Truck Series, he's working his way back up through the series. One-time Cup Series racer at one time, made the chase. He's trying to work his way back into the series. He says hashtag bring back New Hampshire. Well, that hashtag it's gonna have to be around a while, but more than likely next season you're gonna get your wish. So be prepared. Next season, New Hampshire will more than likely be on the schedule. Let's talk about some news that's been going on around the league. Some of this has been confirmed, other of this has not. It's just speculation. Let's start in the let's start here because a lot of it is coming from CMR. So let's start in CMR, and let's first talk about Chris or Hair Bear. CMR has agreed to restructure the deal that was originally agreed upon in the off season to re-sign Hair Bear to the original agreement, which was 2 years with a 1-year option, 1-year player option. That has been restructured to a 1-season deal with a 1-season player option, and then the final season is a team option. So what this means is that he is locked into this season with CMR. But after that, because of the player option, he could choose to opt out of his deal and go to another team, essentially making this season a contract season. And so I think this is big. I think it's big for both the CMR as a team, and then this is big for Chris or Hair Bear, because right now this kind of changes the perspective of the season for him. Now he can sit and kind of look around and judge where he wants to move to at the end of the season. I think he has some options. He has stated that he wants to go to HMS at season's end and join that team that is proving to be quite formidable after the first race of Speed B, Annihilator, and Spheric Rope. If he were to join that group with that group intact, I think it would be an awesome move for him. Of course, he's still affiliated with CMR. He's still a Chevy as well. So you can still get the help from both teams. And I think going over there, providing an extra boost of veteran leadership, he's had a measure of success, can actually really help him out. Here's the flip side of that. When Annihilator came in, he actually ran the qualifying dash race in a Ford, and he would have been a Ford had it not been for the fact that the 4 car was taken by Paintbrush, and there were no cars available at the time. But that's no guarantee that something can't happen that can move Annihilator to a Ford, or more importantly to SHR. So with that being said, I think that that is quite interesting. You're looking at your Daytona 500 pole sitter actually really almost could have been a SHR pole sitter, and think about how that would have changed the narrative that would have happened there. Spheric Rope, obviously he's in the series. He had a great start. Question is, can he keep that consistency as we start to hit these mile and a halves, as we start to hit these road courses, as we go over to FM7 and run Bathurst, and as we enter the chase, can he keep that consistency through the seasons? He's had one very consistent season where he finished in the points in the top 3, made the chase. Outside of that, where do we know Spirit Rope to normally end up? In the qualifier. So that could be interesting. And then, of course, you look at Speed B, very, very consistent, but can he keep his focus throughout the season and stay out of trouble? He's coming off of being suspended. So we have to assume that, not assume, but we have to keep our eye out on whether he can maintain that consistency, keep his temper down, and go out there and run the race and not jeopardize his season and the season of his team. So there's a lot that you have to pay attention to out there before you just jump and go. And I think that it's very important that he keeps his eye out on that before he decides decides affirmatively on what team he goes to. Some other teams I think would be really good for him out there if he wanted to leave. I definitely think that JGR could definitely benefit from having Hair Bear. Obviously, again, a veteran. He'll look quite different running in a Toyota. He's ran a Chevy for so long, but this is someone who hasn't been afraid to run different manufacturers and different teams. So I really do believe that he could go out there and do something with that team. You think about the team captain and Fractured Chain, would love to have him. He has some experience working with Fractures. He worked with him in the past. So I think that would be a great fit for him, knowing that he has some veteran champion experience there with him as well. I tell you, if you wanted to stretch things out too, maybe drive the 42 and team up with Pennzoil. If Pennzoil can get himself into the series and set himself up for next series, then definitely that could be something that you could definitely entertain, and that could be a decent team there as well. There's Jazz Daddy out there in the chat. What's up, buddy? How you doing today? I hope you're enjoying the day. I hope you're enjoying the broadcast here. Just touching on a few things going around in KMR. I know the website is not, the web news page has not been updated yet, but it will be by the end of the day, man. Glad to have you with us out there in the chat. We want to thank our 4 viewers out there. We've been consistently with 4. We got all the way up to about 5 or 6. It's good. We appreciate that. Again, you can check this broadcast out on the YouTube side of 105 The Drive later on today. And be sure to check out all of our channels that support KMR, and we'll give a shout out to those channels when we get ready to conclude here. Talking about places for Hair Bear, obviously you want to go somewhere where you can be successful or have had success. How about this? What about the 43? He has ran the 43 in the past, and I think if if he can, get back there and bring that team to success, obviously that would mean a lot to that team who has never really had success in KMR except for one season when the White Hammer won a championship. It was in that 43. I think definitely, he could have an opportunity to fill some big shoes in that 43 car. And again, he's ran there before, so I think that would be a big deal. Okay, so well, let's go right on back to CMR because we got more news coming out of that camp. Yeah, it's time we're gonna go to the 00. And before we do that, we got Welp Dang out there. He says, if Hair Bear leaves, would you pick someone up from free agency or call up one of your drivers? That's a good question. Well, I'll answer it like this. Hair Bear hadn't left yet, so I'm not focused on that. As a team captain, I've got to keep objectivity. You know, I got to keep some objectivity, and I got to recognize that the season has just started. We just ran the Daytona 500 last week, and if I start focusing on what's going to happen next season right now, then the whole team could lose focus on next season. So as far as I'm concerned, he drives for CMR, and when the time period comes, then we will address what we're going to do and how we're going to handle that situation. And who knows? It's a long season. It can be a long season. So who knows? He might have success here. And he may say, you know what? Something may happen. He say, you know what? I'm going to pick up my option. I'm going to stay in CMR, so if I start to panic and start trying to swap out drivers now, then I could force a driver out that really had no intention of leaving. So right now, it's better just to let things kind of play out and focus on the season, having a good season, and make sure he has success as a driver as well. Let's talk about our next driver, who drives the 84 right now. He too asked for a restructured deal, and that restructured deal mirrors the deal that was given to Hair Bear. So basically 1 season guaranteed, the next season a player option, the next season a team option. And this allows a lot of flexibility on both sides. But Ghost has recently expressed the desire to leave CMR as well. So between the two, obviously both of these guys are important and they bring that veteran leadership there. And you hate to see these drivers go, but these drivers, especially Hair Bear, has been around CMR/RCR for a really, really long time, very long time. And so you can kind of see, okay, a change of scenery, and everything. And you can kind of see that. And of course for Ghost as well, I think definitely the appeal for Ghost, if we talk about good places for Ghost to go, if I'm being honest, the best place I think for Ghost, if he were to leave CMR, is to go back to the 41. When we remember Ghost Train, when Ghost Train won his championship, when Ghost Train was Ghost Train, the best road course racer in KMR and a very, very consistent oval racer. When we know about Ghost, was he was the first one. Before what SHR is now, he was the first one. And he ran the 41 and was able to win a championship there at SHR. And one thing he always strove for is getting a team that was going to be able to be willing to work with him. Unfortunately, every team that he ever had or put together at SHR by week 2 had crumbled apart and fell apart and wasn't a team anymore. And he was by himself. By week 5, they had stopped showing up and he was by himself again. So I think for him to have a team now, that he could possibly go to that is consistent enough and good enough, that has been winning championships, has won the past 2 championships. I mean, you can definitely see the appeal of going over there with that group and trying to be successful again. Whether that's his desire or not, I don't know. Personally, I'm just looking at places where I think Ghost would be a good fit if he were to leave. I definitely think SHR would be at this point would be a good fit because these drivers are here. They are all champions. They have that experience, and right now they are, as rivals, one of the fastest teams in KMR. So I could definitely see the appeal, and you definitely want to get over there and at least try something before that team crumbles apart and falls apart if something were to happen. So, SHR, we know, was cleared out last season, and so before something like that can happen again, you want to get over there and see, uh, you know, what that is. Let's see. Welp Dang in the comments said, I think that the last time HMS had all four drivers was in NASCAR heat. Yeah, I would have to agree with you. HMS, last time they had drivers was, I think it was about, you were the 24. Who was the 88? I don't remember who the 88 was. Have to look back at that. Was Dale the 88? Okay, so Dale Jr. was the 88. You were the 24. I think Hair Bear was the 48. Either Hair Bear or All Guns was the 48. And then what was the 5 was Hair Bear or something like that. And I think it was something like that. Yeah, you're right. It was a long time ago since HMS had a full team. It's good to see them have pretty much a full team again, And I think they'll do fine with 3 drivers. And if they choose to pick up another one, or if another one chooses to sign on, I think that would be big. Going back to Ghost Train, another spot where I think Ghost Train would look really good. Obviously he could run a Toyota, run with Fractured. Can you imagine Fractured and him at Bathurst leading the field around that racetrack would be big. But you can see Ghost going single car team as well, and just kind of trying his hand that way. What about the 71? I think that would be big, and I think also Ghost could open up his own team, and run there for a season, and I think that could be big as well. A good fit for him to be able to go out there and prove that he can get it done. So I really do believe that that's an option as well, that he could pursue. So Welp Dang is filling us in on who those drivers were that ran. Want to thank all our 7 viewers out there in the chat. So it was the 48 of Chevy Giant, the 5 of All Guns, I knew All Guns. I believe ran it was the 5. You and Dale Jr. So yeah, but I mean, you think about it. How long did that last? If you were to compare that team to the team now, I mean, the team now will blow that team out of the water. I think with the only exception being Chevy Giant was actually pretty decent, has started to really get faster as the season went along. I think his last season, I remember him battling out there. It was a really, really good season. But outside of that, I mean, yeah, the team now will just absolutely have its way with that team. Let's see, any more breaking news that I can think of? Not right offhand. Can't. Yeah, y'all lasted until the chase. Yep, y'all just completely fell apart. Yeah, that's kind of what happens. Okay, so let's go over our schedule real fast, where we're headed next, and then where we're going to be headed the next several races. Okay, so we have Talladega, we have our Homestead, Miami, we have Charlotte Roval, Pocono, Texas. Gonna be our next couple races. We will be at Texas a lot, so just get ready. If you have a bad Texas race, just wait, because you'll have another chance, and then you may have another chance, and then you may even have another chance after that. at Texas. You're gonna get your heavy dose of Texas, so don't even worry about it. Um, we also will have our first and only FM7 race. It'll be Bathurst. Yeah, Texas Central. You're right about that. It'll be Bathurst. Bathurst will be our FM7 race. So get ready for that. That's going to be a fun race as well. And that's kind of it for breaking news right now. Obviously, okay, so we have 7 people out here in the chat. If you can comment, I want you to just take your idea of this. Okay, so um, in the past several seasons, especially because we have not been running the Forza side of things, we're just starting to get back in that. We have 2 options for this season's All-Star race, which will be the same week as the Eldora Special. Okay, so there won't be any races that week except for the Eldora Special in the trucks, and then the All-Star Weekend event for KMR. So here's my question: um, Do you think which one do you like better? Do you like the the team battles skills challenge? I don't want to say all-star race. I apologize for saying all-star race. It's the skills challenge. But do you like the KMR skills challenge like we saw last season at, I believe, Las Vegas, where we have the teams race against each other and advance to win the skills championship? Or do you like the the sort of team battle on Forza at the airfield where we would battle things out for the team championship? Now, if you want a taste of either of those, you can go back a couple seasons in there on 105 The Drive and check out some of those skills challenges where basically it was basically a tag race, a lot of action, big air, and stuff like that. Or do you like the more racing, sophisticated thing? Dunkerwiz said team racing is much better. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Team racing is much better. Yeah, I was just curious about that. Obviously, because we uh, hold on. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, team racing is better. It could be more interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because me personally, I can go either way, but I like the it. I like to pass the it a lot more because it allows you to, you know, just the action that goes on, and you can wreck people. Spin it is. Sorry, sorry about that. Um, but yeah, I do believe that could be. I like that style of everything, but either way. So Dunker, you said it could be more interesting. What do you think about that? What part of it is more interesting? What do you think? Sorry, it's that. Okay. And then a whelp dang, okay, he said, if we're doing team racing, could I join for fun even though I'm in truck? Nope. Sorry, buddy, this is for the Cup Series only. Guess what you're going to be doing? You're going to be doing the Eldora Special. So yeah, while you're doing dirt racing, Cup Series guys will be doing their skills challenge. So, yeah. That's what we got going on there for you guys. So we're back. What about Xfinity? Says Jazz Daddy. Xfinity will be off. The Xfinity series will be off that week. So you don't have to worry about Xfinity. They will have off. But you've got some time. You've got a lot of time to go by before that skills challenge comes through. Dunker, I just think it would be more exciting. Maybe have races where teammates turn into competitors. Yeah, well, I have to consider that idea, but the whole point of the skills challenge is for teams to work together to try to win the team skills challenge. It's a team event. So with the teams pitted against each other, they're trying to win the team points bonus that comes with winning that, as well as the plus 20 points to each team driver. So, maybe a racing obstacle course, maybe so. We'll have to look into that in the off season, maybe. Kind of look into a team obstacle course or something, and just see maybe a designated course through a particular track, and the teams have to do that. We have to look into it. There's so many possibilities. That's the thing about KMR, man. We're the adjustments. We don't mind making adjustments for the benefit of everyone that runs, so that everyone can have fun. So you never know. So you guys in the chat, I got a question. So obviously we got a lot of races. Which race you got circled on your schedule? Which race you got circled, wrote down, starred? Do you think it's gonna be really fun, really exciting, really tough? The Roval. Yeah, I figured that would be Dunker Wiz. Wait, so I can't run the Eldora special? My truck was just delivered. Yes, everyone in KMR, the Xfinity, the Cup guys, any hot seats that are interested in joining, anybody, any and everybody that wants to join KMR. Now they have to join KMR. They can't just run just the Eldora special, but everyone waiting it, they can run the Eldora special. However, only the truck guys are getting points for the Eldora special. So it won't affect the Cup Series points. That's where the skills challenge comes in. Yes, I don't have to take it back. Yeah. I tell you, a track I got circled, Bathurst, is going to be fun on FM7. I had a chance to run some Bathurst there yesterday, and it's going to be a fun race. I look forward to it. I wish that we'd have ran it on FM6. I think it's going to be a really fun race on FM7. I think there'll be some DNFs, a lot of DNFs, quite a few DNFs actually. So yeah, get ready. Get ready. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. Welp Dane says I like road courses for truck. Yeah. Maybe you can teach Speedy how to run road courses. Every time he gets on one, he DNFs. Yeah, but anyway, it's neither here nor there, Josh, all the tracks. He's got all the tracks circled. Yeah, I can imagine, man. Yeah, the tough spot. Yeah, I could see that. All the tracks are circled. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so Talladega will be on next week's track. I do not know yet what the skills challenge track will be. When I was making the schedule, I did not include that. So I'm gonna have to go through. It'll probably be it will be posted once I get it. Well, Dane's like, next season Josh is gonna have New Hampshire circled. Oh man. Someone likes New Hampshire. A lot. Like a lot, a lot. Someone likes New Hampshire. You like New Hampshire, huh? Yeah. Jazz Daddy says Talladega. I can agree to that. I love Talladega. Wait, what? So next week, basically, you got next week circled on your calendar because y'all will be running next week. Talladega, get yourself ready. Uh, Dunker says that track should be banned. Why? No, as long as I run KMR, Talladega will never be banned. New Hampshire's just New Hampshire. If it plays nice, New Hampshire will be okay, but Talladega will never be banned in my book. Sorry, you talking. Oh, you meant New Hampshire. Well, funny thing, Dunker, is New Hampshire was banned. New Hampshire was banned for a long time, a long, long time. And just ask anybody in KMR that's ran in the modern era. New Hampshire was banned. So next season will be the first season that it's come back. It was banned for a long time. So, yeah. Yeah, we had a New Hampshire race. I believe Dead Skeleton, he ran the series and he won that race. It was his only win of the season. And uh and it yeah, but it was just a crappy race because NHE was a crappy game. So it was just really crappy. It was just bad. And I was like, yeah, no, we're banning this. This is no. We should race it every 7 races. Okay, Josh just doesn't want to run KMR. Okay, well, I'll mark that down in my notes. Uh, just crappy. Crappy. It was a bad race. And yeah, so I don't even like running it on the 1 player mode. I just don't like the track. I skip over it. Period. It's just no. But anyway. Well, I would have wrapped this thing up with a who you got, but I ain't got nobody yet. We're gonna have to wait till next week to do that. I would take it 3 wide, but I ain't got nobody to take it 3 wide with because we're not talking about anything but Daytona so far. So yeah, we're just gonna wrap this thing up with get your popcorn. Get you popcorn. Um, I've taken 4 wide. Right. So I would take it 4 wide, and then my next segment will be get that aggressive driving. Take it. No. Take it to the hauler. That'll be my next segment. Take it to the hauler, because after 4 wide, you're gonna wreck. You're going to the hauler. So, yeah, nah, we won't be. We can't have. No, we can't do that. Oh man. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna cut this broadcast right here. Appreciate everyone joining me. Remember that this coming Thursday will be on the normal time, which will be late evening, guys. Normally it's late evening. We will have the speed report where we'll highlight Talladega and the upcoming races and how everybody's season was going to be and everything. What time? Yeah, that's a good question. So it's fluid. Time is fluid for me when it comes to things like this. I get in where I fit in. It'll probably be a late night broadcast. We're talking after 10 o'clock. Probably 11. I'd say 11 at the earliest. So we'll be joined by our analysts and officials and things like that, and we'll break down Talladega and everything. But I've appreciated all you guys. We were up to 7 at one time. Appreciate all you guys being here. and tuning in and supporting and everything. And this is KMR out.